George Home, 1st Earl of Dunbar, KG, PC, was, in the last decade of his life, the most prominent and most influential Scotsman in England. His work lay in the king's household and in the control of the state affairs of Scotland, and he was the king's chief Scottish advisor. With the full backing and trust of King James, he travelled regularly from London to Edinburgh via Berwick-upon-Tweed. In Scotland, Home was the son and third child of Sir Alexander Home of Mandiston, Berwickshire, and was introduced, at the age of 26, to the court of 16-year-old James VI by a relative, Alexander Home, 6th Lord Home, establishing himself as a favourite at court. He was in the retinue which accompanied King James VI to Norway and Denmark to collect his future queen. He was knighted on the 4th of November 1590, appointed a privy councillor in 1598, and the following year appears as Sheriff of Berwick-upon-Tweed. In 1601 he was made Master of the King's Wardrobe, and on the 31st of July the same year was appointed one of the componenters to the Lord High Treasurer, and acceded to that position in September. In 1601 he was also made Provost of Dunbar, in England. Upon James's accession as James I of England in 1603, Home accompanied his sovereign to Westminster, where he became Chancellor of the Exchequer from 1603 to 1606. In 1603 he was also appointed to the Privy Council of England, and on the 1st of June that year received a grant as Keeper of the Great Wardrobe for life. On the 7th of July 1604 he was created Baron Hume of Berwick in the Peerage of England. In 1605 he was appointed a Knight of the Garter, and on the 3rd of July was created Earl of Dunbar in the Peerage of Scotland. There is evidence that he took a part in the interrogation of Guy Fawkes in the immediate aftermath of the Gunpowder Plot of 1605. Landed interests. Of these, on the 27th of September 1603, Home received the manor and castle of Norham, with its fishing rights on the River Tweed. On the 12th of December a royal charter gave him the custody and captaincy of the castle of St Andrews. In July 1605 he had a confirmation of all the lands previously granted to him incorporated and combined into a free earldom, lordship of Parliament, and barony of Dunbar. Religious affairs. In 1608 Home journeyed to Scotland with George Abbot to arrange to promote the Episcopal Church, and to seek some sort of union between the Church of England and Church of Scotland. King James was pleased with the initial results, although the hoped-for union never occurred and the gulf between the King and the General Assembly of the Church of Scotland widened. In July 1605 some 19 ministers assembled at Aberdeen in defiance of the King's prohibition against the General Assembly meeting. 6 of them were subsequently imprisoned in Blackness Castle near Linlithgard, and there, on the 10th of January 1606, the Earl of Dunbar came from London to be present at the trial and to act as the assessor. Everything was done that could be done by him to win a verdict for the King against the 6 ministers, and it is said that he brought plenty of money with him to purchase a verdict. In addition, the Earl himself selected the 15 jurymen, 5 of whom were Home's, his relatives. But even then the jury could not agree. In the end it was a majority verdict of 9 against 6 in favour of the guilty verdict. Regardless of the irregularities, the verdict stood, and established the law that it was high treason for any minister of the established church to dispute the authority of the King and the Privy Council in religious matters. Death. The Earl of Dunbar died in Whitehall, London, in 1611, without male issue, whereupon the earldom and a barony became dormant. By his wife Catherine, daughter of Sir Alexander Gordon of Guyt, he left 2 daughters, Anne, who married Sir James Home of Wittrig, Elizabeth, who married Theophilus Howard, 2nd Earl of Suffolk. His body was embalmed, but his funeral service did not take place in Westminster until April, after which his body was placed in a lead coffin and sent to Scotland, where it was buried under the floor of Dunbar Parish Church, midway between the font and the pulpit. A magnificent monument, said to be finer than any in Westminster Abbey, was erected in his honour, which is still the distinguishing feature of the interior of this church.